Hey, as always, it's Roy Newgate, and I have today one of my most ambitious videos prepared for you guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about someone I would say is perhaps the most interesting and mysterious character in the series, and that is Dr. Vegapunk. There is so little that we know about him, and yet a great deal to discuss. I want to get into a bit of character analysis and some theory in this particular discussion. I'll be talking about his role in the story, his potential motivations, and the overall composition of his character. But before all of that, if you're a returning viewer who may not be subbed, or if you just enjoy One Piece content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay posted on all of my video releases. I'm hoping to turn up the volume on video production and put out more content with the weeks to come as well, so stay tuned for that. All that aside, let's get right into it. Vegapunk as we know him is such an enigma in the series. We know he works for the world government, but what's his end goal? What sort of inventions is he working on next, and what has he already completed that we don't know about? Now, the first time we heard of Vegapunk in the story was in chapter 433 when Kobe first mentioned him and his latest work. As of this recording, it has been exactly 567 chapters and we still don't even know what he looks like. But throughout the story, we've had various little tidbits that have been dropped or pieces to a puzzle that should help us slowly see the full picture of who this man is and what he is about. Let's talk a little about science, technology, and the power of the mind and what its place is in the series. We have Vince Smoke Judge, who is one of the most renowned scientists in the world, and he has demonstrated enough knowledge in biology to the point that he was able to modify the genetic makeup of his children to make them nearly indestructible and give them superhuman strength. He was also able to design suits for them that give them incredible durability to supplement their ability as well as other powers such as invisibility and fire resistance. We see the durability in full display as Sanji is able to use his raid suit in Wano to survive multiple attacks from ancient Zoans. In Wano as well, we have Queen, who has several inventions of his own, such as the ice-only plague bullets. Queen was also able to somehow modify his body with this devil fruit to the point he can extend his body parts similar to Inspector Gadget. He is also able to use a gun coming from his mouth while in his full Zoan form, which somewhat mimics the ability that Baby 5 possesses by way of her devil fruit. We've never seen anything like this and are still trying to figure out how it works, but it just goes to show Queen is a top tier scientist in his own right and extremely skilled in his area. Lastly, we have Caesar, who has been able to put together various poisonous gases, conduct growth experiments, and mass-produce smile fruits for Kaido's growing army. All of these characters are incredibly smart and have some pretty stellar achievements, and yet not a single one of them can match up to Vegapunk, because he alone stands at the pinnacle when it comes to the mightiest of minds in One Piece. His work is so far beyond anything we have seen that we're told his scientific prowess is 500 years ahead of everyone else. So he's created quite some distance between him and his competition. Let's take a look at some of his work. He was able to create a technology that allowed Navy warships to cross calm belts completely undetected by Sea Kings by making use of sea stone. He was also able to figure out how devil fruits work, to the point that he created something that can be used to feed them to inanimate objects. One such example would be Spandam's sword. He was able to experiment with and modify Kuma's body to the point that he became a human weapon and model for other such weapons that were relative clones of Kuma himself. Even further beyond that, he was able to replicate Kizaru's devil fruit ability within the pacifistas. And what has proven to be his biggest accomplishment is the discovery of the lineage factor, which we normally know as DNA, because it is this research and discovery that allowed Vegapunk to do such things as creating artificial life. He was also able to unlock the secrets of devil fruits and utilize them in the various ways that he has. He was even able to create an artificial devil fruit that on the surface seems to work as well as a legitimate devil fruit. Though he deemed it a failure for unknown reasons, it was still an incredible achievement, especially considering the fact that Caesar, who piggybacked off of Vegapunk's discovery, was unable to muster anything even close. The fruits he instead created come with greater risk and typically do not allow the user to revert to their base form as they are stuck in the obscure transformation permanently. So this just goes to show the levels of difference there are between Vegapunk and Caesar. His latest advancement, known as SSG, is one of the biggest mysteries in the series so far. We have no idea what it is, but we have the likes of Kaido and Fujitora expressing great confidence in its ability. It was put together to replace the warlords in their entirety, and the warlords as we know them were one of the great powers that held the balance of the world, so to replace this power, you need something equally powerful. Or perhaps for the interest of the world government, something even more powerful. But the fact that something like this was put together by Vegapunk shows how much of a force that he is. It leads me personally to believe that he may be the most dangerous man in the series. He was even formally tasked with experimenting to figure out how to turn humans into giants to rival those of Elbaf, and we have been told on several occasions how great their army is. They are recognized as the strongest nation in the world because of it. Even Big Mom herself emphasized how an alliance with them would be enough to make her the Pirate King and give her the ability to overwhelm every one of the other Yonko, even Whitebeard. And so, although he may not show up in the top 30 strongest list, Vegapunk possesses a mind so mighty that his potential far surpasses any devil fruit power, any swordsman, any creature, any man living in the One Piece world. And I say potential because we have all these insane achievements from him already, and yet we haven't seen him at his limits. We're actually witnessing his growth as he still has higher up to go. Vegapunk, for most of his life, has been someone with this overwhelming potential who lacked the natural resources and funding to move further along in his pursuit of knowledge. In his earliest years, the people of his island were plagued by freezing temperatures, but he put together inventions that were meant to help heat the entire island and ease the worries of the inhabitants. But his progress was halted due to his setbacks. One can only imagine how far along his path he would be had he grown up in the right environment with the necessary resources to foster his growing mind. Perhaps such experiments such as the creation of artificial devil fruits would have reached a point that even he may deem a success. And that in itself is pretty insane to think about. At the very beginning of the Jaya arc, we were given this quote by the narration from the physicist Willie Gallen. Everything that humans can imagine can be brought into reality. And this is embodied by Vegapunk's existence because, with his unrivaled scientific ability, he is the bridge between imagination and reality. At a point in time when Judge and Vegapunk were still research partners, the world government had learned about Vegapunk's discovery of the lineage factor, and they felt threatened, so they arrested Vegapunk as Judge made his getaway. Ever since then, he has been working for the world government, and the nature of him joining them does bring a lot of things into question. I have no reason to believe this man suddenly decided to serve the world government and develop some sense of absolute justice or a sort of devotion to them. This is of course a man who in his youth exhibited a great sense of benevolence and compassion as he worked hard and tirelessly despite his setbacks to make sure the people of his island had a suitable place to live. He had a heart of gold, and I would imagine he brought this sort of character with him into adulthood. We see a hint of it when he refused to conduct certain unethical experiments that Caesar was willing to take part in. He also refused to put innocent lives in danger for the sake of research. Certainly a man as smart as him will recognize the corrupt nature of the world government and would be on board with doing all that he can to bring them down. And that is exactly where I think the Revolutionary Army comes in. I feel like his relationship with Kuma says a lot about his motivations and intentions. They were close to the point that he permitted Kuma to program himself to protect the Thousand Sunny for the 2 years that it needed safekeeping. And this is of course something that would go directly against the world government as they were in pursuit of the crew. So Vegapunk allowing this to take place was in direct opposition to their wishes. I believe the relationship with Kuma ran even deeper than that. It's very possible that he is working directly for the Revolutionary Army. He has endless resources and funding to conduct all the experiments he wants under the guise that he is all in for the world government. He may very well be working towards giving the Revolutionary Army an edge in the coming war, or perhaps bridging the difference in military might, because the world government has far more numbers and far better trained soldiers and more resources, so someone like Vegapunk would be crucial to make this a fair fight. Going back to SSG, it could be something like an army of devil fruit power cyborgs. Vegapunk may secretly be programming them for the sake of the Revs. There's so many possibilities. One thing I'm almost certain of though is that when it comes down to it, Vegapunk's allegiances may decide the fate of the world as a whole. Of course, we still have no knowledge of Imu or whatever abilities he may possess, so that's one of the biggest wildcards as we inch closer to the end of the series. In any case, there are sure to be a lot of insane revelations with Vegapunk when it comes to his plans and who he will fight for, and what he will bring to the table in the final war. That does it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Also leave a like and comment down your thoughts below and any theories you may have that pertain to the video.